All right, September 3rd, 2020. We're getting close to Labor Day, and today we're going to be talking hospitality revenue management in college towns. But also, Anthony, I think you want to get to the bottom of what's going on with my hair.
Yes.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to No Vacancy Live with Anthony Melchiori over there and me, Glenn Hausman. We really appreciate you being here every day. Anthony, so great to see you. You came on a couple of minutes late. What were you doing this morning, dude?
I came on a couple minutes late. What time does the show start?
Well, it's 12:03 now. You came on at 11:59 or something like that. Usually you come on a couple of minutes beforehand so we can chat it out and all that kind of good stuff.
Bullshitting behind the scenes. Everybody was like, the producer is very chatty, our producer. Very chatty. His fault, not my fault. I was here on time, buddy. You didn't push the play button.
Oh, so, is that what it was?
That's what I did this morning.
I just did. But then you decided to yell at me instead. So let's start again.
I drove out.
What did you do this morning?
I drove out. You know, I live in New York. I drove out to a place called Rockaway. Mm-hmm. And I went to the Rockaway Hotel to do a 10-minute little conversation with the new employees of the Rockaway Hotel. Oh, and cool. When you're listening to this, I want you to go on Google. I want you to go on Instagram. I want you to look at the Rockaway Hotel. It's Rockaway, New York. And they're about to open in about, I'd say, 5, 6, 7 days, or about a week. And I've been fortunate enough to be watching the hotel over the years. It's taken 10 years to come to fruition. Rockaway had over 7 million people come to its shores last year. Wow. The ferry from downtown New York basically comes right into Rockaway. You walk down that street. I believe it's 108th Street. You walk down that street, and the Rockaway Hotel sits on the corner. And it is the first luxury 4-star hotel in Rockaway's history. And it is gorgeous. And it is outside. It's got more outdoor space than any hotel you can imagine in New York City. So the bar, you can sit outside. The pool, you're sitting outside around the pool. There's a great restaurant. The rooftop, great for weddings. So I'll be talking about it. I know we'll be doing a show from there, hopefully soon.
Yeah, I was about to say, sounds like we should have done a live show from there this week. But
but I will tell you, it was so much fun. Please, everyone, go to the Rockaway Hotel, like their Google page, like their Instagram page, follow them. Even if you can't come down to Rockaway, just follow them. It's a fun hotel. They have great leadership. And I'm telling you, I got teary-eyed. You know, the housekeeping department was there, and I, of course, gave them a standing ovation. I started to get a little teary-eyed. They're just amazing people, and they worked really, really hard. This is a family that comes from Queens, worked really hard. I got partners. They run the refinery rooftop in New York, so we don't.
That's cool.
They run other areas in New York, and they just know how to do it. They have a place called Bungalow Bar out in Rockaway.
I know that place.
Bungalow Bar, you got to go to Bungalow Bar. They do it right. So, big fan. Please, everyone, go to Rockaway Hotel right now. Like their page. Give them some support.
Excellent. I love that. And speaking of some support, love to have all of you guys watching our show. We really appreciate it. And that's why we're going to be switching to a single stream starting on Tuesday, the day after Labor Day here in the United States. Please go check us out on Anthony's Facebook page. That's Facebook.com/Anthony Hotels. Anthony Hotels. We're going to be exclusively streaming on there, but you could still also get it because we can cross-post. So you'll also be able to see it on No Vacancy News podcasts and stuff like that on Facebook. Also, in addition, tomorrow, we got a very, very special show. We're going live. Normally, we're taking off Fridays, but this week we're going live because we have Dr. Michael Osterholm, one of the top infectious disease specialists in the country. You may have seen him on Meet the Press. You may have seen him on CNN. You may have seen him on The View. He's a big deal, and we have him on the show tomorrow to talk all about where we are on a national health issue. I'm pretty excited about that one, Anthony.
I'm really excited about it. What I'm really also excited about, I just asked Dave, our producer, to look at how many Instagram followers the Rockaway Hotel has. So give it to Dave, and then I want to see how many we can get it up to.
The gauntlet has been laid down. Go ahead and go. Let's see if we can get that number up for them.
So, really excited about tomorrow's show. I'm really excited about being here with you. And I tell you, there's nothing. It's like giving birth, man. It's not even my hotel. I would love it if it was my hotel. it was amazing to see the birth of this hotel and to be there and to be asked to speak for the first 10 minutes with a brand new team, brand new hotel, giving birth. It's seeing your baby raised. It's not even my baby, but I am adopting it, and it's just to see all the fresh faces. And what I said was, I really wanted everybody to understand is they're doing this during a pandemic, and there was 50 people in that room, at least 50 people. I mean, those are 50 jobs. So the ownership of giving 50 jobs to employees, and right now jobs are so needed in our industry. So a great, beautiful hotel opening up in Rockaway, 15 minutes from JFK, 1 minute from the ocean, 45 minutes from New York, and all these jobs. So I'm really, I was expecting to be in there.
Speaking of hotel jobs, yes, Colleen, you will get a notification on Facebook. You don't worry about that. I think you watch it through Anthony's page already, so nothing will change there. Anthony, speaking of hotel jobs, very sad news. Times Square Hilton is officially closing on October 14th.
Well, that was kind of in the works for the last month. I heard about that a month ago. No.
Yeah, I mean, it was rumored. Now it's official. It's it's on the major New York TV channels.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great again. We got to go through pain to get to glory, and it's going to be fine. 4,837 followers for the hotel, Rockaway Hotel. We want 5,000 by the end of the show. All right. So
all right.
Also, Nick, Universal laid off thousands of people.
880.
Yeah, an airline just laid off people.
Yeah, their money ran out September 1st that the government was giving them, so now they're laying off a lot of people.
2 months we're gonna be actually have more debt than we have GDP. It sucks. It's going to get better. It's going to be great. Our industry is going to be great. Listen, the industry's got to be great. You know why? Chris Green is running the whole damn industry.
Well, he's running some of the industry. There's also somebody that's taking active participant in Graduate Hotels. We're going to hear from both of them in just a second.
Favorite brands ever. You haven't been to a Graduate Hotel? Go to a Graduate Hotel.
Yeah, I haven't been to a Graduate Hotel, but don't worry. I'm going to be begging and pleading for them to help me change that during the show. All right, let's get into it. What do you think?
You do a lot of begging and pleading. It's not really.
It's really unbecoming of me. I'm begging for somebody to cut my hair after the show.
Together, and you begging and pleading makes me look like I'm begging and pleading.
No, it makes you look like above the fray. I'm debasing myself. You're not.
All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. All right, welcome to the show, Mr. Stephen Gottlieb of Graduate Hotels and the one and only Chris Green, CEO of Chesapeake Hospitality. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us here today. Since you are new to the show, Stephen, an extra special welcome to you. Love the hat. I'm trying to dress a little collegiate for you today because I was in college back in the late 80s, early 90s. Grunge was in, and we wore these plaid shirts, so I thought I would have a little bit of college spirit today for you. How's life over at Graduate?
Great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. The hat is a nod to one of our most recent openings in Chapel Hill, Carolina, our 23rd open hotel, and no, obviously, coincidence with the most famous athlete, number 23. So really happy to be here, but I want just a couple of issues. I wish we were doing the show today from Rockaway Beach because that sounds like where I'd like to be today. And number two, Glenn, we got to get you to a Graduate Hotel, kind of next steps for us, our relationship.
I did send a note to David because Rosh Hashanah is coming up and I happen to be in Providence. I know you have a hotel there. So hopefully we will be able to make that happen and I could do some content from an actual Graduate Hotel. That would be freaking awesome.
Chris, I know you do run the hospitality industry, so great to hear that. Well, but Steve, is it Steve or Steven?
Either one is fine.
Okay, he says Steven.
Yeah, that's okay.
So Steven, when did you open Chapel Hill?
In July, early July.
During the pandemic. How fun is that?
Yeah, it's been fantastic, but actually it's been quite interesting because right after we opened, the university chose to go to complete remote learning. So what we would have thought is that the city and the town emptied out, but actually we have secured about 50 students to stay in our hotel for the entire semester, which is really interesting, of students who like to stay in market in these communities instead of going home where they've probably been with their
Wow.
parents for six months.
One of my daughters is learning from home, and I told her, she's her senior year in college. I said, I'll pay for the dorm, or I'll pay for you to stay in a really nice place in the city. She chose to stay home, so now she calls us our roommates. We went on a bike ride last night. We took a picture, and she was out, and she goes, my roommates went on a bike ride without me. So she's rooming with us. I wish she was rooming in the hotel or rooming at the college to get that experience. But so that's fantastic.
Yeah, I candidly, it wasn't something that I or we were fully expecting, that there would be so much demand for students to stay in these communities once the learning went remote. But we're really grateful that we're able to house them and create these unique experiences. Our brand is based on nostalgia and experiences. So what better way to create that tie with this individual who will someday become an alumni and come back to football games and continue the tradition that we, instead of just being a place where their parents may stay, they actually begin their college experience in one of our hotels, which is just something that I don't think anybody would have expected 6 months ago or even 60 days ago. So really, we try to be partners in the community and with the universities. And at this point, this is a great way for us to be able to continue that legacy.
Wow.
Your hotel's open?
I'm sorry?
Your hotel's open now?
We have all but 3 of our hotels open. The last 3 in the West Coast will all be open by October 1st.
Wow. So what does it look like now in most markets? I know most of it is some online, some on campus, but the majority of it is split. It's either online or a little bit on campus. But very rare, I think 3 or 4% of colleges are doing it all on campus. So what does that look like for your portfolio? And do you see that trend in other markets where people are staying in your hotel during the year?
Yeah, actually, most of the university towns at this point do have in-person options. There's only been a few that have moved completely online. So what we're seeing is that there's definitely a need for people who both we're housing students both from that are direct through the universities who have depressed inventory as far as dorm rooms, and so we're providing them resources to partner and put people into our hotels. And then, as I mentioned, some students who are contracting and staying in our hotels directly because their dormitories have closed. But I think we keep a close eye on these markets, and we discuss it each day in our meetings and with our sales and revenue teams. And what we're just trying to do is stay top of mind for people who do have housing needs through various social media groups, direct ties with the universities and their teams, and continue along the path that we are to be community partners and to obviously drive as much revenue as we can during these unusual times.
So the lesson I'm taking away from this is creative thinking about how to get new guests to come to your hotel, right? So I'd be curious, Chris, you're probably thinking about that a lot. This seemed unexpected. It sounds like if you're out there and you got your mind open, there may be opportunities if you can be sensitive enough to detect them.
Yeah, I think the easy way that, the easy path that we talk about is just kind of saying nothing's producing of the normal segments. But then you look at the chain of Graduate hotels that obviously they went, and I love Graduate because there's a couple things about that brand that I love. The timelessness of it. Steven did a great job of explaining this is something that it has stickiness. It's going to last from when you graduate to when you're an alumni coming back. But that's beside the point. When thinking about business, all of us, that's what I was just on the phone with our EVP of sales before this call, talking about new opportunities for business we have in Baltimore with some combined medical research stuff. And then in one of our other hotels, we're doing some of the similar stuff, but we're housing some faculty there. So at this point, we know what's not producing, and we can either sit on our hands and wait for something else to produce, or we can do what good hospitality people do and look at new strategies, new opportunities, short-term use, college housing, medical housing, government housing, and then alternative uses for hotels in the near term.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, Steven, how did you figure out this particular trend? When did you realize it was happening, and how did you price it appropriately for people to stay with you the entire semester?
Well, I think innovation has been at the cornerstone of what Graduate has always stood for, right? I mean, if you just think about our brand and where it's and how it started, and so I think that it just by nature comes to the individuals who work here and who have created this brand is how important innovation is. So I think, during the closure period, we had obviously some additional time to think about, what our path forward would be. So we utilize that really to retool all of our strategies and processes. And I think one of the things that came out of these conversations was the opportunity to serve the communities in different ways than we had traditionally. And that's why we, very early on, we created collateral and different types of conversations that we created with the university partners to talk with them about these opportunities that would exist in this environment. So I think it was even as early as April, when all of our hotels were closed, that we created collateral that kind of that really had an opportunity to articulate the benefits of staying in our hotels during these closure periods, such as obviously the safety and cleanliness standards that we've partnered with Procter and Gamble on, and also the benefits of having security on our floors and contactless check-ins and meal options, etc. So I think it was started early, and I would have expected that when schools went back, that maybe some of those conversations would have diminished, but they've only intensified as the housing needs in these communities has changed so drastically.
I love the fact that from a parent standpoint, I would feel so good that if my daughter was staying in a Graduate hotel where I knew security, safety, life safety, all that's taken care of, and also that you're not going to deal with wild parties. So I would feel real comfortable. And it's something like we all look at airline crew, right? We're always looking for airline crew to take up 365, 24/7 for just maybe 3 or 4 or 5% of our inventory, so we can pay the bills during the downtime. And you're kind of changing the game and kind of introducing a new market segment that really hasn't been introduced before.
Right. Yeah, and not to say that we don't want students and airlines, right? We at this point we'll take it all. But yeah, again, it's to Chris's point, to everyone's point, innovation is going to be key for success in this industry. And we have two options as to whether we rely on things that have always made us money and that we've always relied on, or we can innovate and find new revenue streams. So I think that this is one that was important. Some others. We've got 2 hotels that are managing in the United Kingdom, in Cambridge and Oxford, wow. and those we're excited for our international expansion. And those areas are very big with pharmaceutical companies and companies that are working on the vaccines that we all can't wait till they arrive. And so in certain markets, there's other business out there that I think will continue to be a steady stream for us. Not to say that we're not faced with their challenges that every company is dealing with, and the revenues that we have at this point are not what we would have anticipated coming into 2020. But I think we're all finding different ways to innovate, both the ways that our revenue streams come in, but in addition to the ways that we create efficiencies and processes to have us operate even better than we did before.
Before you start and introduce some pictures from Graduate, I have a friend that just told me yesterday, I was talking to him in California, that he's actually one of the people that are going to be in the 3rd trials of one of the vaccines. So he's real excited. And FYI, if you're looking to be in one of those trials, they're looking for people. They're looking for people from all diverse backgrounds. So please, find out how they're doing it. And please, if you'd like to volunteer. But I thought that was exciting that he's going to be in one of the trials. And it looks like, Fauci said maybe, in a month or so, we'll really start to see something. So let's.
Yeah. All right. So I do want to ask a question while we're bringing up some of these photographs. Stephen, I'm curious, you rented out a lot of these rooms to students. Did you have a number of rooms that you wanted to put out there? Is that a good thing for you to protect your revenue just for the short term? Or is it more of a longer term 20 into 21 type of scenario for you? I think we're looking here at the Minneapolis property.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think each hotel has to be treated differently. If, like, for instance, Minneapolis is our largest asset, has just north of 300 rooms. And in this hotel, relies heavily on meetings and events, which obviously that business has dried up. So this is a asset that we would very much like to fill as many students as we can. You look at a property like Chapel Hill; it's much smaller, about 70 rooms, and that we're still expecting football. At this point, the ACC football is continuing. So, that's an asset that we probably, we're going to take a significant amount of students, but that we typically won't fill the entire hotel, so that we do leave room for some of our other guest demographics and people who want to visit the area. As far as pricing is concerned, again, that's definitely something that we look hard at. We look at what are these students going to pay for our dormitories or for their dormitories, and then we try to relate that a little bit, because we know that there is going to be some cost factor to this with the parents who are typically going to be paying for their children. So we just try to partner, obviously, and present a price point that people can afford. But there's also some cost savings as it relates to efficiencies, because these students don't need daily housekeeping service, right. and we can definitely manage from a hospitality perspective much different than we would the guest who's paying $500 to come and stay with us for a football weekend.
Makes sense to me. So what we're really talking about is mixing some of that really good extended stay business, which gives you some financial base, a little bit of confidence going forward, with more of that typical transient business that we were also used to. Chris, have you started to think about that sort of a business mix at some of your properties that may have catered towards transient and business travelers in the past, but are now maybe have some opportunities to get longer term guests in those rooms?
Yeah, I think we have to. It's obvious, and Stephen and his team are on the right track. Of course, there's smart people over there. We're going to have to do something for all of 21. I mean, there's a bunch of data that just come out from CBRE and STAR that demand is not going to be back. And if you think about the demand piece, right, we should quantify that and say the demand we've always looked at, because now, as Stephen just said, we have other demand factors that may continue on for a period of time. We don't know how long. Colleges are going to be doing some remote learning. Some people want to live in non-dormitory facilities. So this could be literally a new extended stay segment that we're going to add to the mix that has been born out of this pandemic.
That'll be interesting to see how that affects the pure extended stay side of the business. Everybody was going gaga over.
And when I joined Graduate 2.5 years ago, if anybody ever told me that I'd be, some of our general managers are saying that, they're more, they feel more like leasing agents than general managers. If anybody had told me 2.5 years ago that we'd be doing this, I probably wouldn't believe you. But again, it's the reality that we're in, and excited to optimize the opportunities that we do have.
So we're looking at the Seattle hotel in case people don't want to read. Let's see some of those pictures as we talk.
Yeah. I just want to stay on this picture for a second, and I think it's really important. What Stephen sells is you sell a feeling, you sell your brand, but really what you're selling is pictures. Mm-hmm. You're selling pictures. And one of the things that I've been really, really emphasizing over my career is taking the time, spending the money on pictures. You look at that, and that picture
is amazing.
It just embodies drama and just perfected color. And it's just so well done and just incredibly well thought out. I would tell you that this flower is maybe 2 inches too close to the lamp, so it's not perfect. Crazy I am about pictures. I spend so much time when I open the hotel. Go to another one, David. And I was noticing the other pictures. The beds look great. The lighting looks great. People literally go online and spend 3 seconds looking at pictures. Pictures are the most important thing you can do for your hotel. If you I don't understand why people are spending time and money on other things when they should be spending time and money on really putting great pictures together, as David kind of tries to get that squared away. But that makes your job so much easier, because they're buying that picture. If I see a picture and you're telling me it's $300, but my budget's $250, I'm going to spend $300 because that looks like someplace I want to be.
Yeah. So, well, number one, we'll talk to David and have you out to Seattle to replace the light out there, so we can make sure it's just.
There we go.
Look at that.
Right. Look, Anthony, I couldn't agree with you more. Content is king. It is the best way. Especially in a hotel like ours, where we spend so much time, energy, and focus on design. For someone in revenue generation like myself and the team, nothing's more important than the opportunity to showcase that through content. And it's not something where you save a few dollars, because the return, which you can't measure, I can tell you is significant, and something that we really put a lot of time into making sure that our hotels are staged correctly and that we have views like that in Seattle, which actually our rooftop bar in Seattle opened this past weekend. It's for anybody who hasn't been to Graduate Seattle, which we know, and Glenn's one of those people, but we really, it's a spectacular view located in the University District, and we're excited to get our hotel back open there October 1st, but we were so excited to open the rooftop bar that we actually did that before we opened the hotel.
Yeah,
Hey,
or reopened, should I say.
Look at these pictures. Like, take a look at this picture right here, right? You're looking at the books. You're looking at how that bed was made. Okay, you're looking at the pillows. There may be even some pins in those pillows to keep them up. There was extra starch in those pillows. Somebody was brought in, maybe a designer that basically focuses on this kind of design for pictures, and everything in that picture is perfect. Now, I've been to Graduate hotels, and I will tell you, the rooms feel like the pictures. It's not like the pictures are perfect and they brought in a designer just to fluff the pillows. When you go in, it feels like the picture and it looks like the picture. But this is what I'm talking about when it comes to selling your hotel. There's a lot of salespeople, there's a lot of revenue management, but if it's not backed up with great content, you lose. And you look at this and everything is perfectly placed. And sometimes you move a chair or you move a pillow just to make the shot perfect. But really, I think you guys do it better than anyone.
Right. Yeah, and we're thankful that we have an in-house design team, construction team. So it's all of that is handled in-house because of, obviously the unique nature of our brand and the emphasis that we put on design, and obviously content. And so those are obvious, as you can see. So I appreciate your noticing, but those are such important things to us as a brand and as a company.
Right. One of the other things that they do when it comes to these highly styled photos is they may add some sort of drink or food element to it to help create the sense of what you could experience at the property while upping the quality of the picture. Now, Chris, we have you on all the time to talk about how you're taking over these properties and all of that kind of stuff. What about the photography when you take over a property? That seems to me that's something that you probably have to do right away.
Yeah, it's literally part of our initial transition process. The e-commerce team goes through the complete web presence of the hotel because, as Anthony said, and you got to follow that chain down the road. The picture tells 1,000 words and creates 1,000 bookings and calls, but the problem is the truth teller, the review process that happens that everybody uses as the truth teller after the fact. If your pictures and what you're putting out don't match up, which used to be the case a long time ago, everybody take a picture of their best room and their best view. Right. But now you don't see that. You see photos of all room types and all the different locations of the hotel. And then it has to meet that guest expectation when they arrive. So yes, it's critical in the front part, booking, dream phase, but execution on the operational phase is critical as well to make sure that you're delivering what you said. Otherwise, it won't matter how good your pictures are.
All right, let me put out this thing there. You have to spend the money on this, as Anthony emphasized. A lot of you folks out there, you might be amazing at running hotels, but you're not professional photographers. Going outside with your phone or going into a room and clicking some pictures is just not good enough. It's a penny wise, pound foolish strategy that's going to wind up turning people against you and to go to another hotel in that community.
I don't look at the picture because a lot of people can take an iPhone and make something look great because the iPhone is so technologically advanced. It's the placement of everything. If there's times where I had to take a drape and take it from one wall and pin it to another wall to make the shot look great. Now, a guest is not going to walk in and say that drape doesn't belong there. But to Chris's point, you're right. You don't want to make something, and then you walk in and it looks completely opposite. Right. But a designer will see something and say, hey, like that desk may not actually live there. That desk may live across the room. But right. It doesn't matter. What matters is we got to fill up that corner and we got to make it look like something. And they did it. And then that's what it's about. So a lot of people can take a picture, but to design it and to really make it look like something, a place you want to go. And Stephen, I see you smiling. So why are you smiling?
Because I bet you those flowers aren't a permanent part of the room either.
No. I say it's great to see that you keep switching between these hotels. So just great to see the pictures in front of everyone, so that everyone gets to see a little bit of Graduate today.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Chris, when you go ahead and you go ahead and you get all those pictures and stuff like that, and you get the site updated as one of your first things, do you immediately see an uptick in business, or how long does it take? What can people expect if they go through a deep dive in their website and update everything?
I mean, listen, the key is updating all your core photography and then making sure it translates to all the OTA sites. Because even still, no matter what, I can actually go on to a hotel that's done a full update. And if you don't have a method to your madness where you go through every single one of the OTAs and make sure they're updating, and honestly, even things like Fed rooms and all the travel agent booking sites, if you don't have and make sure that the feeds are correct, then you're still going to end up with a photo. I can tell you how many times when we've rebranded a hotel from one brand to another, and then a year later, people still see either a picture of the old flag or a picture of the old trash can. And listen, that hurts the booking. It confuses the consumer. And you can see there's a direct ROI having new, crisp, well done, professional photography that is all the way broadcast and updated across all of the OTAs, which sometimes can take 2 to 3 weeks. Which, here's a tip for the insider's tip. You need to know your market managers for all your OTAs, because if you have a great relationship and you can get on the phone with them, you can say, I updated my photos today. We got all new professional shots. Can you please put me in the queue to get them updated? Because a lot of times it runs on a normal cycle, and it may be 3 weeks, it may be 3 months. But if you have a relationship, you can literally accelerate the ROI on what you spend on your photos, which is what you're looking to do.
Yeah, and I'll also add on that, having a great distribution team is critical during these times. Another area that people may say, oh, we're going to cut this, or we don't need this, but distribution, having someone in-house who can manage, especially in independent hotels, manage distribution. And we have someone great at Graduate. It really helps, be able to display that content as quickly and as soon as possible. And I think, Chris brings up a good point. It's not just on your own website, but it's on the OTAs. We look at OTAs as very important partners and not as a dirty word. Obviously there's different ways that we want to engage with them. And once the consumer and the guest comes to us, we'd like to convert them to a direct guest and no longer part of booking through a third party. But those are definitely things that we keep in mind every day at Graduate.
Right. And I think as the Nashville property, it's all the folks that are listening to this podcast as opposed to viewing it. We're sorry that this is such a picture intensive episode, but there's just so many great things here. So I encourage you to go back and watch the video feed. And those of you watching the video feed, make sure you check out our audio feed at Checking In with Anthony and Glenn on iTunes, Google Play, and all the other places that you could get it. All right.
I want another point, just about the design of your room. When I was in Nashville, and I don't know, is this Nashville, Stephen?
This looks like it could be Knoxville, which is another one of our.
Hey, Tennessee, close enough.
Yeah, exactly. But that's another good one for us to speak about, because it just opened as well in the last few weeks, and we've partnered with Peyton Manning to open a brand new bar there called Saloon 16. If anybody can go to pictures of that one.
Dave will find that. As a matter of fact, listener Mike McManus is already on top of that, saying it was a smart idea to partner with him.
Well, you do that. Yeah. A really good point, a design point, right? You're looking at this room, and one of the things I loved about Nashville is there's a lot going on in the room, and but it doesn't feel overwhelming. If you look at this shot, right? Look at that light in the corner. Now, if that light was on the floor, that light would be too much, because there's another piece of furniture and it would be overwhelmed.
Great point.
Little point of putting that chandelier in that corner gives you proper lighting. The guest doesn't have to move it, because there's really not a lot of space in this room to move it. But that little thing that no one notices, but those designers who are extraordinary that work for your hotel company know. And look at it. Now, that there's a lot going on in that picture, but it doesn't look overwhelming. It looks comfortable. It looks like a place you want to stay. And so if you're a little brand, or you're a big brand, or if you're an independent hotel, you've got to get an expert to come in and help you design. I have a client that yesterday asked me, say, hey, we don't have a big budget, and he's trying to do it on his own. And I got one of my designers I work with, and I say, hey, I don't know if there's business here for you, but talk to him. Maybe you can work with him just a little bit, maybe a little budget, and do something. But like this room, if you try to do that room and you're not a designer, you're going to screw it up. That is one more thing in that room is too much. One less thing is too little. It's absolutely perfect. And when I see something like this, it really gets me excited because it's very rare that you get it this right. So sorry, I just keep going on, but you can tell I love hotels.
Yeah, you actually stayed in the Nashville property. Is that correct, Anthony?
It was beautiful. I'm sorry, David. You can go on to other hotels, but you found that Peyton Manning bar thing. That would be great. But that's great. You partnered with Peyton Manning, and that's what I remember going to the one in Nashville, and you have this little kind of theater, and it has what are those things called? They're from like
animatronics. I think it's called.
You had animatronic?
Yeah.
Now tell people the first party you had in that bar. Do you remember who the superstar was that you had in that bar?
Was it you?
No.
Superstar.
Couldn't have been me. I wasn't there.
I can't remember her name.
I believe it was during. I do know, but we're not supposed to kiss and tell. I think they say so. Why don't you share that?
I will just tell you the person that had a private function in that saloon was the A-list of A-list. And that's kind of what your brand brings together. People they don't want 5-star over the top amenities. They want fun. They want clean, and they want amenities, and they want really good service. But when you go to your hotels, I always feel like I'm having fun. I always feel it's different. And the saloon is in the middle of nowhere. You open up a door and you're like, what? This is weird. Like, what the hell is the saloon doing here? And then you walk in and then all these things go off and they play for you. It's amazing.
Yeah, and this is I think you're speaking about the karaoke bar in Nashville,
right.
Which was and the event you're talking about. We actually opened the hotel earlier for a full buyout for this celebrity to get married there and have her entire party there. But yeah, so Saloon 16, the picture you just said, is located in Knoxville, just steps away from the Tennessee campus. A lot of memorabilia, nostalgia, all based around Peyton Manning and his influences. And his experiences in this area, which is such an exciting thing. And to your point on the content and the placement, I mean, this makes I've worked for a few different companies in my career, and none have had this type of content and design. And really, don't tell anybody this, but it makes the sales and revenue leaders' job much easier and opportunity to drive more business that much more successful just because of this.
I think one of the things we've done in the hotel business by getting it so efficient, we've made it boring. Okay, it's such a boring environment 90% of the time, and I hate to kill my own industry by saying that, but it's true. You walk in, it looks the same. Like even if you go, there's one hotel in Washington I won't name, but it's a beautiful hotel. You walk in, it's like, yeah, but I've seen it before. It's beautiful, it's marble, the elevators, but I've seen it before. One of the things I love about your brand is I haven't seen it before. And you can tell by my excitement, man, it's almost like you're paying me. I love, and you're not, but I love your brand because it's not boring. I'm sick and tired of boring hotels. That's one of the reasons I love the Rockaway Hotel. You walk in, you're like, holy crap, man. This is what a hotel's supposed to be like. Look at that. Look at how
that's awesome.
And it's not over Peyton Manning. I don't want Peyton Manning in my face when I go to a place like this.
So for folks that are listening to the podcast, version of this, it feels almost kind of like a man cave type of feel, but very upscale, almost with a tint of cigar bar to it. Would that be a fair way to describe it, guys?
I can't say I haven't been in its side yet. I'm going to make a trip soon. I'm not sure if cigar bar, but definitely a masculine feel to it. I think is safe to say. A saloon in Knoxville, Tennessee. But yeah, so that's to be expected. And I think, when you talk about differentiated experiences and design, I think that's always been important, but even now more so than ever, people are traveling less currently. Hopefully that changes, but we're seeing so many more people who, instead of being completely brand loyal, want to stay and experience these types of hotels because they've been in their houses for so long. And everything has been, somewhat sterile to them since they haven't had a chance to move about and go to different places to stay and enjoy the hospitality that comes along with Graduate.
That is a very interesting point that you bring up. Chris, are you seeing any evidence of this anecdotally or actual evidence that people are starting to go more towards that independent-minded property experience over a typical branded property? It seems to me that staying at XYZ branded property doesn't necessarily move the needle for me to quickly to travel as some other cool properties.
I think right now, Steven's exactly right, and Anthony's nodding his head. I mean, right now, people are so desirous of getting out and seeing something different than the inside four walls of where they've been for the past 5 months. So I think you're going to see a lot of that exploration travel. I do think there's always going to be a place, Anthony, for the consistency of the IBT traveler who likes you pick it, you name it brand that's got the desk and the bed and everything's exactly the same because they move from city to city and they're going to want that consistency. Now, we did see a huge move up until February, right, of the experiential hotels where you're going to different cities and you're immersed in the cities and you can't tell where the city's walls stop, the city stops and the hotel begins. That's a lot of the travel experience. And honestly, some of the more higher end IBT stuff is really starting to seek out those experiences while they're in town so that it's not just a business trip. While you're on the business trip, you're experiencing part of the city. So there was a huge boon in that, and Graduate's just capturing that and so much more with the stays from prior, people that went to the college or alumni of the college. So expanding what I think is cool about Graduate is they expanded on the normal business platform. They've got the experiential travel, right? A guy like me that wants to go to Tallahassee. I don't think there's one in Tallahassee yet, but you can put one there. And I want to stay and I want to get the Seminole memorabilia while I'm in town on a business trip. Totally see myself doing that. Or if I need a meeting, then I'm probably at the Marriott or the Hilton or the Sheraton down the street where I've got meeting space, right? So it's an expanded market segment that I think the more you set your business up to capture all pieces of the spectrum, the more occupancy that you can get, which begets RevPAR, which is how we make money.
And one of the things I want to touch on, which is really important, is I don't see hotels really discounting their rooms, and that's not hurting the hotels because you don't want a piece of business that's not going to be coming back. You don't want an inexpensive piece of business that's going to hurt your brand, and it's not going to drive demand. So I like there are some, obviously the rates aren't as high as they used to be, but there's not a race to the bottom like there used to be. And one of the things you're looking at right now for those people, unfortunately, on our podcast, you can't see it, but please go to Graduate. You can see all these pictures. And plus, we're going to have the pictures on our Facebook page. So when you go to my Facebook page, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to post these pictures on the Facebook page so you can see what we're talking about, so you can go and look at them. But what I loved was when I walked in to the first time and Dolly Parton was hanging over there's a picture of Dolly Parton over my bed. It wasn't like, oh my God, it's so kitschy. It's like work. And if you don't do it right and you're not a brain surgeon designer, that can look real kitschy real quick. So what I love about it is it looked right, it felt right, and it didn't feel weird, because that can feel weird quick if you don't do it right. And there's 3 people and nobody had a response to that. Good job, guys.
Yeah. Hey, we're here for you. You know what it is, Anthony? You are so captivating. You say such great things. You leave us awestruck all the time.
This picture is a picture. It's the Nashville Hotel.
That's cute. That one. I love how the headboards are guitars and there's a horse couch.
Look at the colors of the carpet, which again, I'm not a big fan of carpet, but in this room, you need the carpet. It just works. It's clean and fresh. You can see it. Look at the drapes. I mean, it's just really incredible. And it's so hard to really introduce more or new colors and introduce new designs, because so many things have been done before. This has never been done before. This is amazing.
Yeah, but you see, I mean, I'm sorry, Steven. I just think that they're dropping in these hotels into these great markets that are between, I don't know the total count, but like 150 or something, and maybe even smaller, and 300 rooms. And so there is capacity coming into the hotels for this type of experience that wants this type of design. And that's probably, Steven, I'm imagining what's helping to drive the performance of the hotels is that you've got a really broad spectrum of demand for the hotel.
Yeah, and each, I think what's unique is, as you can see through the pictures, or when you go to Anthony's Facebook page, you'll see the pictures, but each one is completely different from the other, and they're all embedded in the nostalgia and the influences from the local communities. And again, those are people, the experiences that people are looking for when, college experiences in our university anchored towns are built on past experiences and reliving those moments from your days of college, which most people looked at as maybe some of their most fondest memories. So those are the types of things that we try to target at Graduate, but also we, in addition, I agree, there's always going to be a place for branded products that people want that consistency. But we also are catering to business travelers who are looking for something different and to, go to a bar and have a cocktail in a bar with a karaoke and dancing bears, which is what we have in Nashville, or Saloon 16 and with the Peyton Manning theme bar in Knoxville. And speak to your point about Dolly Parton, I don't think it was open when you were there, Anthony, but we did just open a rooftop bar that has a lot of nods to different artists that were impactful in Nashville, including Dolly Parton. So that's something you'll have to check out the next time you go back.
I walked through the construction. I was very excited.
Yeah.
So, Chris, when you see these properties, what happens when a really cool, interesting boutique hotel opens in one of the locations that you're in? How do you combat the cool new kid in town and keep people coming to your hotels?
You got to do what you do best.
He says, "I was this cool." That's what he does.
You just got to do what you do best. Every hotel is different, has a different market that it attacks. And so, we've experienced some of that in our markets, like Raleigh and Chapel Hill area and some other North Carolina markets. So you had Atlanta downtown. We're right in the middle of Georgia Tech and a bunch of other, and they've got the Georgia Tech, the college at Georgia Tech right there. So you've got to be able to stay in your swim lane and understand there are clients for that. And you're going to lose, you may lose some pieces of business to them, but then you've got to go and make sure you backfill with other pieces of business. The difference will be now that the demand level has changed so much in our industry. Before February, there was so much demand that you could shift back and forth, and maybe this piece would go over to that hotel, and you would backfill from a piece at another hotel down the street, or you would change a little bit of what you're doing. That's not going to be the case now. Now it's going to be the people that are really forward thinking and savvy. They're going to be picking up all the business, and I think there's obviously less to go around. So you're going to have to be critically focused, and that's why having Steven on and other people in sales and marketing, revenue management, and talking about this side of the business is going to be almost all that matters for the near term. We're going to operationally, we've got hundreds of thousands of great operational people that are going to implement great cleaning standards. If they're in a good company, they do what matters. But the creativeness and the effort put behind your distribution, sales and marketing, revenue management, thoughts on new business lines is going to be what's going to get you through. Because with reduced demand, there's only so much to go around. The star reports aren't even going to matter. Honestly, we're talking about like the star report, fine. If somebody has this much percent of the market, it doesn't matter. We know how much part of the market we need to succeed, and that's our goal. If we have 150 rooms, we're going to need to sell 125 a night. And what does that look like, and how do we build it that way?
I think what's really important, when everything gets back to normal, which it will, I experienced it this morning. I went and did a little orientation for a new hotel that's opening, and I just felt more like I just wanted to be calmer. I'm not as intense. I wanted to be more comfortable. And I think what people are going to look for when they're going to hotels is they're not going to be looking for that run, intense convention. They're just going to look for a bar like what you just showed us, or a rooftop. I think there's something being shaken out of it little by little, because it's been going on for 6 months now. And I think that edge, I'm still going to have my edge. I'm still going to be excited. But there's a gratitude that I've always lived with that is just amplified itself. And I think that you're really going to see your guests change a little bit. And they're going to stay a little bit longer and have that drink. They're going to stay a little bit longer and have that dessert. They're going to maybe add on a day. They're going to really want to be taken care of. And I don't think that's going to go away overnight. Is this the rooftop for Nashville?
It is, yes.
Look how great our producer is. Look at this.
I know. He keeps bringing up all these pictures. That is absolutely beautiful. I love it. And again, audio people, we apologize to you. All right. So I think it's time to start wrapping this up here, Anthony. We're almost near the end of our hour.
David, put that picture back up, please. What I love about that rooftop is that it looks like it's on the mansion of Dolly Parton's house. It looks like it's her pool in her house. Like, look at those little canopies and the color, and it's just beautiful and it's perfect. So if you're listening to this on our podcast, please go to the Nashville Graduate Hotel. Look at the pictures. It's absolutely gorgeous. And again, different. And I haven't seen that before. Look at the colors. The colors are just
awesome. It's awesome.
So,
it's awesome.
Great job.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this thing up. Steven, you did an amazing job today. How about giving us a good shameless plug about Graduate Hotels?
No, I mean, thanks for having us. I don't know if I have to give a plug for Graduate Hotels. Anthony has done that for us. He seems to be our biggest fan, but no, we're excited about the future of Graduate Hotels, everything that we've created and the path forward, the future. We have exciting new hotels opening both here in the U.S. and the U.K. So we're excited about our international expansion and appreciate the support and look forward to talking to you again.
What's going on with the one in New York? Did that one open yet?
Roosevelt Island.
No, it hasn't opened yet for obvious reasons. Probably next year we're looking at.
Woo, that was rough. And just for context, they were supposed to open this past June on Roosevelt Island, which is a slim little island between Long Island and Manhattan Island. And you all might know it from the movie Nighthawks when they were going over the tram there. I know that's from the 1970s, but still.
All these hotels opening. You on Roosevelt Island, Graduate Hotel. You know what I may do? Maybe I'm going to do a New York City hotel tour next year. Well, I'll do it once a year. I'll do it from early in the morning till late at night, and just for free, just take 50 people and just go around New York City and see all these great hotels. Because if you don't know the Roosevelt Hotel and that island, you need to know it. If you don't know Rockaway, you need to know it. It's like when people think of New York, they think of Times Square, they think of downtown, or even Upper West Side. They don't really think of all these great properties opening in the 5 boroughs. So I'm really excited to see what happens on Roosevelt Island, because I was there during the construction and it was fabulous. And you guys do it so well, and it's just so impressive. So thank you for being on. I appreciate it. And tell Dave I said hi.
We will. Hey. And yeah, we're excited for Graduate Roosevelt Island. You guys could be the first guests to arrive.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Steven. Chris, how about you? A little wrap up for us today before you get back to your CEO duties.
We talked a lot about Graduate today, and I love them. I mean, I do want them to work on a Tallahassee hotel. That'd be great. I'd be a guest out there when the time comes. They listen, I love our business, and sometimes we talk about management things. Sometimes we talk about great brands that are doing it right. These guys are doing it right. I've been watching them since they started, and it's a fascinating concept. And I think you're going to see them really do well, even through the pandemic and through coming out of this, because people are still connected to the university. They still have that history. And barring all that, they've got great design. I mean, that pool at the rooftop in Nashville was stunning. I mean, it just makes you want to hang out there. So it shows you, and I think we had a great talk about photography and how that transcends into your revenue management plan. But man, listen, when you look at a big bid for photography and you choke on it a little bit, it's probably the right bid, because I remember when photography, you used to go find somebody for a couple $100 and get it done. That won't fly anymore. I mean, you need professional lighting, professional photography, professional staging. Somebody looks at all the details, because that stuff is so crisp now on our huge monitors that we have in the HD that if it's not exactly right, people are going to notice it, and they'll just skip to the next place. So it's fascinating.
Picture out there that's going to play to the most critical OCD person like me, that notices that lamp, that notices the placement, that notices the pop of color, that notices I haven't seen this before. That's who you want to play to. Anyway, Chris, it's always a pleasure to see you, my brother.
You too, Anthony.
Added value. I truly appreciate it. And you added value today because you made me put my tie on.
It's your calling card.
Color, right? I had a little color, but you wanted my tie, and there you go.
Right. Beautiful. Thanks so much,
right,
Chris.
Guys.
See you next week, brother. Good.
So you know what? Let me tell you, if you haven't heard enough about how much I love the Graduate Hotel, let me tell you what.
I wasn't aware of that. You have an affinity for that brand? What?
They own it. They manage it. They operate it. They do everything. So when something needs to switch, like during the pandemic, they can make decisions immediately. And they're all in. They're all in. Again, going back to the Rockaway Hotel, and if you haven't liked it on Instagram, please go to the Rockaway Hotel and like it. We want to get those likes up to 5,000. But like they manage it, they brand it, and they run it, and that's the way it should be. We're working on a hotel right now that we're trying to get them from a brand to their own independent hotel to save money. So go to hospitalitysuccess.com, find out more about how to go from a brand to an independent. Although I love brands, right now in this place, you need to learn how to run your hotel. You like that segue there? You like how I did that?
Dude, it was flawless. I'm sitting here going, damn, he got himself in a plug, and I didn't even know it was going to happen.
Look how flawless his haircut was this morning.
Absolutely beautiful. Look how flawless my lack of attention to this is going. So,
dude, I tell you, your hair is it's time for a haircut, but it looks like more like a hat.
I know. Thanks, John. I probably should go bald, but I don't want to show up, Anthony. I'll keep going with what I have.
I swear to God. I love your hair, but today it looks a little bit like a hat. Are you wait? Are you trying to keep like a little bald stuff that's going on here? Are you trying to?
I'm just totally going all the way back, but I'm not trying to hide it. It's just I have so much of it.
Push it back. Do that again. Do that again. We like it better. Everybody likes it better. Do that. We like that better.
Ooh, yeah, or I could go with the another '70s movie reference, the Eraserhead look.
We like
just all right, maybe I'll do the.
Such a good job on the show today. You've earned a shameless plug.
Hey, thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. Text the word hotel to 66866. That's the word hotel to 66866. And remember, starting Tuesday after Labor Day, we're going to a single stream on Facebook. You'll be able to watch it on Anthony Hotels, Facebook/Anthony Hotels. That's Anthony Melcuri's fan page where a lot of you are watching this today. We want to consolidate it so we can get our audience together and help move this show going forward. And while we're talking about stuff going on here, Anthony, don't forget tomorrow we got the one and only Michael Osterholm, great infectious disease specialist, that's going to tell us the reality of what is going on. No politics, pure medicine, straight and simple. Right, Anthony?
Yeah. So they've our friend. I just lost my train of thought. Our friend David, our producer, said that Rockaway Hotel is up to 4,845. So we have a way to go to 5,000. Please, before we sign off in 30 seconds, get up to 5,000. Tomorrow is exciting. Matter of fact, I'm going to do my homework a little bit for tomorrow. I'm going to learn about his background. I'm going to ask him questions that hopefully he's not been asked before to really give our audience information they can't get on other channels. So hopefully, bring your A game tomorrow. I'll bring my A game. I mean, this is a gentleman that's been doing this for a long time, and we owe it to him to ask him questions to really educate our audience that maybe they're not getting the information. And I don't want to ask questions I've been asked on other channels.
Yep, makes sense. All right, everybody, thanks so much for being here. And remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and